Hey you guys, what is going on? Happy Monday. Today is a holiday, but that does not mean that we can't still learn from these markets. So while it's a holiday, that also means that my children are home. So you may hear some noise in this video, but that's okay. Hey, life goes on, right? So if you're a person who wanted to future trade on the holidays before we get into the video, I think you should actually use this time to take a break to scout setups for the next coming day because American banks are closed. So this is particular for the major currency pairs. Obviously, the minor pairs or some of the exotic pairs, they'll still probably run smooth, but the major pairs, they're the ones that could run slow or funny. It all depends, right? But you could use this day to back test, you could use this day to learn, you could use this day to just study or just take a break in general and just rest. It's totally completely up to you. There's no one perfect answer. I like to use this day for analysis, for catching up, or for spending time with my family, which I already did. Made breakfast, we ate, now we're chilling, mama's working. Okay, so I want to share two setups today. The first setup that I'm going to share is a potential trade for US 30 coming up, potentially today or tomorrow. And then the next trade that I'm going to share is analysis from one of my students. He shared a really beautiful, fantastic trade using my TMP technique, and I'm going to share that after. So let's talk about my TMP technique here for just a quick second. TMP basically stands for three things. It stands for trend, market structure, and then price action. That is what my technique is called, okay? TMP. And all it says is the first thing we do, and it's literally telling you the steps that we take, is the first thing we do is scout out the trend. Then we scout out where we want to enter the trade, that is market structure, and then we allow price action to give us permission to enter the trade. So you have price direction, you have price structure, and then you have price permission. So TMP is like 3 P's, but it's also a 3-step yes system. So you need 3 yeses to each step. When you can identify the trend, when you know where you want to enter, and when you know where you want to, you have the permission to trade, you can say yes to those 3 things. So for example, this is the 4-hour time frame. This is where we're going to start with the trend. On the daily time frame, if you go to the daily, you can see that price has been pushing down, right? So the thing about this now, when looking at it on the 4-hour time frame, let's go through TMP. Do we know what the trend is? It's down. So we can say yes, it's in a downtrend. Do we know where we want to enter the trade? I can say yes. So when it comes to enter the, scouting out where I want to enter the trade, it's where you would plot your structure. For example, you could be a support and resistance trader, which I have a video coming out on that this week. I'm going to be teaching on the 4 different types of structures that you guys can trade and choose from. So that's going to be a really good 4 parts, probably 5-part series that I'm doing for you guys over the next 2 weeks. So make sure you guys are subscribed, like the video, and have your notification bell so when that video drops, you can get it when it comes out. Okay, especially if you've been struggling with support and resistance and the time frames to trade it on, and how to enter and where to take profit. I'm literally breaking it down for you. Okay, that's if you're that particular trader. Don't worry, there are going to be 3 more structures to come. But anyway, so structure is what you place on your chart to enter a trade. So I have my structure that is this blue zone right here. And I want to see if price can stay below $34,404 because in a downtrend, you want price to stay below your last lower high, not the lower low. Obviously, you want to stay below the lower low too, but your lower high is actually more important in a downtrend. Okay, write that down if you didn't know that. So right now we have a new low, and this low appeared this morning, right at 9 o'clock this morning. And so prices push past 33,929. That's how you know price is in a downtrend, because when price passes past lower low, the previous lower low, that's how you know the seller still have control. Okay, so this is why we know that price is in a downtrend. So now we want price to pull back, but stay below the last highest price of $34,404. And if she can pull back and come into my zone, which just means touches the zone, she has a full range that she can come and test, which is here, but I don't like big zones. That's why you guys kind of see me with smaller zones. So she has a full range she can test. As long as she can push anywhere within this huge range on the 4-hour, but still stay below 34,000, I am going to want to place a trade. Only if when price pushes up, I get some kind of confirmation that sellers have control. That can be with one of my top 4 candlesticks, with technically 3. It could be with a bearish engulfing, not a bullish engulfing, but a bearish engulfing. It could be with a hammer or inverted hammer or a spinning top, right? Or yeah, it'll be a spinning top or doji confirmation, doji plus either one of the three candles that I just mentioned, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for in this area. That is price giving me permission to enter the trade. And this candle still has 2 hours and 42 minutes before it closes, as you guys can see right here. So if this candlestick closes bullish and continues to push up for the remainder of the day going into tomorrow, because I don't know how long it's going to take, probably today, then this could be a really good quick trade that we're going to have starting out for this week on US 30 lower lows, or take profit. We'll be back at my lower low. And if I could use my Fibonacci, I just don't know if it's the straight pullback, because price could close bearish on this next candle, so I don't want to call it right now. But if you follow me on TradingView, I will put a picture up on TradingView as well to let you guys know what my analysis is. If I start to see that we're going to get that confirmed pullback, then this could be a really good sell to the downside. But let's go over what my student called out in the group. So I have, if you work with me, then you can obviously share your markups with me in my trading group if you work with me. So my trading group is Trade on Purpose. We used to be called Swing Trading Society, but I changed that name to fit my coaching program, which is the TMP coaching program. And anyone who works with me as a student, then you can come into the community on TradingView where we talk. You can ask me questions, you can share your charts. I'll post like video analysis. So, you know, you can come over here, you can talk to me online, because we're already on TradingView. So why not have the community on TradingView as well? That's a no-brainer. I just don't like being attached to my phone, like with Discords and Telegrams and Slacks. I just don't like being attached to my phone like that. And plus, you can also still use the chat on your phone if you're out and about as well. So, but I'm always on my computer when I look at TradingView. So anyway, or my tablet. Anyway, so he called out this EJ weekly cycle. He did question it, the cycle, if it was trend continuation. You guys consider this TC. And he asked about the setup. This is the setup. Price had a lower low at 127s, and then this is the zone that price pushed up in. Once again, we're using TMP because we have this lower low. We don't want price to go past 133.478, and this was a good setup that he was saying, hey, maybe price could stay below. I was looking at it when he was talking about it on the daily time frame right here, and I'm like, you know what, I would want to take this trade. I would really want to take this trade. So what I did was I looked at the full setup, and it's the setup that we have right here that I'm going to share with you guys. So let me go through it with y'all so y'all can see on the day, from the daily to the weekly, what we were looking at. So on the weekly time frame, once again, still full range, still full setup. I'm going to actually delete this this zone here. So this is the setup. This is the TMP setup. Once again, we have a 3 yes system. So it's price trending down. Yes, you had a lower low. The lower low is how you know price is in a downtrend. Okay, you had a lower low. We need price to stay below 133.49. Actually, it's going to be a little bit closer to the wick. So we'll just say 133.4s. And you guys can see that price did come and reject it on the weekly. But when we were looking at it here on the daily, the first rejection came February 7th, okay? But then price pushed up a little bit more, but it formed a beautiful rejection candlestick, and then it formed a beautiful, nice bearish hammer following the next day after that. Now, we're not in the trade at this point, okay? We need the pullback to confirm that now price can stay below technically this rejection candlestick, because we use candlesticks as structure. If you ever notice and look at the way I trade or the way that I'm teaching, I rarely tell people to go to the left. We don't need to look for support and resistance or any of that. We're literally using trend as our guide, and then we're using the candlestick as where we want to enter the trade. This way it just eliminates you creating extra steps. And in the videos, the series that I'm coming up with, you guys will see the difference between how I trade and how support and resistance traders trade. Because I used to be a support and resistance trader. And it's okay with switching your styles when you get a little bit more evolved, right? And most of my students used to be support and resistance traders. And that's why they came to me to get out of that mindset. It's a little bit better. You'll see as time goes along. So here, once again, we're using trend. If I were to eliminate everything from this chart, the 2 moving averages, which I really use, but the 2 moving averages, if I just show you guys the way this is set up, I'm still going to keep my Fibonacci on, but let's eliminate some stuff, or let's hide some things so you guys can follow along with me a little bit better, so y'all can see what it is I'm looking at and why trading the way I do makes a lot more sense to people who I teach. So look at the trend once again. Remember, it's a 3-yes system. Price made a higher high right here at 133.15, which basically means price was in an uptrend. Okay, if you can agree to that, just type yes to this video if you can agree to that. And then price passed 131.25, which was the last higher low. The moment she passed it, she made a lower low. This means this is a reversal on the daily time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, because on the 4-hour time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, which means now we need to go up in time frames to see what that candlestick was right here on the daily, because we're going to use that candlestick as structure, and that was that rejection candlestick hammer that I just showed you guys from the daily time frame. Price came back into it February 16th at 5 o'clock a.m. That is the entry candlestick. Okay, so once again, we use the same candlesticks. There's only 4. We have 4 categories. You have the rejection candlestick, which is the hammer and the inverted hammer. You have the spinning top or the spinning bottom. That's the second category. You have the bearish or bullish engulfing, which is the third category. And then the doji plus one of those candlesticks I just named. So having those 4 categories really helps us get an edge in the market and not look at everything. We're not looking at double tops. We're not looking at double bottoms. We're not looking at triple tops. We're not looking at triple bottoms. We're looking at the first candlestick that tells us to enter, okay? And at the structure. So did price touch structure? That's an M part to TMP. Yes, it did. Did price give us permission to enter the trade with the candlestick? Yes, it did. And the moment that it does that, we execute the position, okay? So take profit to the position without the Fibonacci is always the same, which is why we use trend, no structures. We never exit trades at structures unless it's a counter, but we always use the trend. So lower low, we're done. Second position that we always do is always the same as well if we don't have a 1-to-1 or if we want more than a 1-to-1. So for example, with this particular setup, we have a 1.83 risk to reward trade. This is a really good position. The first position to have exited was at 1.16 risk to reward, but we're going for a longer term trade here, okay? So first targets have been reached. So now what we can do is move this trade down to break even, which I am going to be doing today to have a risk-free position. So this position that my student called was a really beautiful executed trade, and it was a trend continuation trade to the downside, because remember that the weekly time frame was in a downtrend. So good job, Eddie. I'm so proud of him. Like, you guys, when he came into the group, and this is a story I tell everybody, and he tells people too, but we kind of had an odd altercation. It wasn't hostile, but the way I teach, I give my students free will to think for themselves after I teach them. So we were going over market conditions, and I was teaching on market conditions. I saw a market condition one way, my students saw it the same way, but the direction that we saw the condition or price moving was still the same. So just because we saw price, the way it was trending was, I saw it as I believe a broader area, where my students saw it as a narrow area, but we agreed price was still going up. Eddie just questioned, if you're the student and or if you're the teacher and he's the student, but you agree with him, why you still see something different, who do I listen to? And I'm the teacher, so you always listen to the teacher, but I'm going to always give you permission to not agree with how I see things, as long as we can agree with the general direction. And even if we don't agree with the general direction, that still doesn't mean that you're wrong or I'm wrong. At the moment in time, we just don't see eye to eye. But I'm always encouraging my students to see things their way after I teach, because it's like art. Everything in life is subjective, which means two people can look at the same painting and get something totally different out of the painting. But after that, and even the students came and said, when you see what she's showing you, when you just pay attention and you listen, you'll see why she teaches the way she teaches. And you guys, he is now able to call his own trades. He is now able to create his own watch list. He is now able to see how he wants to just basically analyze how price could move. We're gonna always have questions as this price moves, and I'm always here to answer his questions. He questioned if this would just be a trend continuation trade. Yes, it would be. This setup is TMP, the way that we see it, the way that we call it. And this was a good trade. Edward, you made me money. Thank you, Eddie. So that's another thing with TMP. If I see that my students are looking at something I'm not looking at, but it's a really good setup that I've not seen yet because maybe I'm not on that pair, I would take their trades. If I've taught you, why not take it? Why not have you make me money, right? So I'm glad that I was able to take this trade alongside Eddie. Good job. If you guys are looking at TMP as far as looking at it with US 30, that can be a good position. And if you're wondering if TMP works on any other system, TMP works on every system. It's just a 3 yes step process. The only thing that could change is just your market structure. Whether you're using support and resistance or trend lines or whatever you use, just have the 3 yes system. Do you know trend? Yes. Is price touching your structure? Yes. Do you have permission to enter the trade? Yes. Once you get those 3 yeses, you guys are golden. So if this video resonated with you, make sure you give it a thumbs up, like the video so it can get better traction on the YouTube algorithm, and also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you have any questions, make sure you post them below, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. You guys have a safe holiday. Remember to backtest if you're not trading. You can always do something and learn something. Talk to you guys in the next video.